Danielle, and I am back with another video. Now when I sit down to work on a page, I either have a photo that I want to scrapbook or a story that I want to tell, but this time I had a product that I wanted to use. I have these black speech bubbles that came in a Felicity Jane kit, and I really wanted to use them. When I thought about what story I could tell, I remembered that I had this stamp set that also came in a kit, and it was kind of centered around the I am theme, and I thought that that would be good to use with this selfie that I actually took for a different project. And when I really think about it, that stamp set probably came in the same kit as the speech bubbles came in. It would make sense, but I kind of group all of my kits together, so I'm not totally sure. So you can see here, I'm just trying to decide on what size of layout I'm going to do. I tried the 8.5 by 11 first. And then I tried this 12 by 12, and I just felt like there was so much space on each side of my photo, and it just felt awkward to me. So then I thought I'll just cut it in half. And so now I have a 6 by 12, and that felt like the right size. It just felt like everything fit well within that space. Now this is going to be a fairly black and white layout, and so I definitely wanted to add some color. So I found this multicolored striped piece of paper that is super cute, and I thought it would be great. And I'm just thinking about some different options that I could do, but I finally decided to just cut a little bit off of the edges of my white cardstock so that I'll have a border around my layout. And I think that that looks great, having that color peek out behind my layout. So I decided to settle on this. And now I'm taking out the stamp set and I'm looking at some of the words. So for instance, there's this one that says happy, there's another one that says imperfect, and then one that says me. And I thought those would be 3 good jumping off points for each of those speech bubbles. I also remembered I had this stamp set from a One Little Word kit that I got from Ellie Edwards, and I really liked how these ones were sort of like jumping off points that you could use. So I believe, I know, I love, and those all seemed great. But after thinking about it and deciding what I wanted to put in these speech bubbles, I decided not to use any of the stamps. And what I'm going to do is in the top one, I'm going to say I am a mama and talk about being a mom. And then the square one, I say I am a wife and I talk about that. And then the last one, I say I am me. And you can see that I attempted to write them out several times and it just wasn't working. It was just too cramped. So I finally decided to just type them up. And this didn't take too much time. I thought it would be hard to try to make them the same shape, but I just measured the speech bubble and eyeballed it as I was typing it on my, on my computer screen, and it worked out. I didn't have to redo any of them. And then I just took those speech bubbles and placed them on top of my journaling, traced them, and cut them out. It was pretty simple. So now I am just making sure that they're in the order that I want them. I thought maybe I wanted this one to be opposite of what I typed it out, and I saw that wasn't going to work. So I just switched around the circle one and the square one because I just thought that they fit together better like that. So I'm just taking each of those little journaling pieces and getting them down on my layout where I want them. And once I kind of glue these down where I like them, it's really easy for me to then take all of those speech bubbles and just glue right on top of it. And I'm using some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to get these glued down. So after I get those down and in place, I decide to work on my title, which is going to be I am, since each of those little speech bubbles start with that phrase. And I'm using these plasticky black letters that I'm really loving lately, and I thought they would just look good right down here at the bottom of my photo. Now I'm using some of this red line tape to get these stuck down and in place, and and it works pretty good, but in the end, I thought it would look a little better if I don't like how much of those letters are up on my photo. I wish I would have moved them down a little bit, but they were stuck on there and I wasn't going to worry about ripping them off or reprinting my photo or anything like that. So I just left it as is and decided not to worry about it. So I'm just working on embellishments, and I thought it would be good to kind of focus on just hearts for embellishment. So I went through my stash and I pulled out some different hearts that I had in my stash, and then on the stamp there was a little heart that I thought it would be good just to have, you know, the puffy sticker hearts and then a stamped heart, and then there's these chipboard hearts, and it would be sort of like just a hodgepodge of different hearts on there, and that seemed like a really cute idea. But I just don't know. It almost feels, as I'm getting them all on there, that it feels just a little bit busy. So then I think maybe I'll just use these puffy hearts, and so I think about that, and then I think, no, I think this stamp would be good. So you'll see here that I'm going to pull out some ink and test it out just a little bit. There's some turquoise, there's a turquoise stripe in the background, and I thought that would be a good choice. And you see here, I almost do it, I almost commit, but there is one thing that scares me so much is to stamping on a layout when you're this far into it. It just is hard for me to do. So I think about it a little more, and then I think, well, I will get out a few more colors that match that background paper, and I stamp a bunch of them on my scratch sheet over there, and it kind of reminds me of, you know, when you watch Periscope, how they have all of those hearts going up the side. That's what that kind of reminds me of, and I really like that. I think that's cute, and I thought, oh, that'll be fun. But I just can't really commit to doing it. So I finally come up with the idea to just use white. It seems like every other choice is scaring me because it feels like I'm going to make my layout too busy. But I thought if I just used white hearts, then I'll get that same feel of the hearts without being too much of a distraction. And I love a white on white look, and so that definitely seemed like the most natural choice for me. So I decided to go ahead and ditch this stamp idea and just commit to doing these white puffy hearts. Now I'm just trying to decide where I actually want to put these, and I'm keeping the whole triangle shape in mind. That seems like a really easy way to put embellishments on a layout. So that is what I go for in the beginning, and I kind of fuss with these quite a bit, but what I end up doing is taking the hearts and putting a group of them by each of the speech bubbles, and I really like the way that ends up looking. And I don't do it right away. I actually think that I put my date stamp on before I really come to the conclusion that I want to do that. And to put the date on here, I just use my roller stamp with my go-to ink right now, which is the Hero Arts in Soft Granite. And then after that, I call this layout done. So everything that I'm using on this layout today came from my Felicity Jane kit, except for the little white puffy hearts, and I got those from Target quite a while ago. But I don't know if all of you have heard, but Felicity Jane has a creative team now, and I was actually picked to be on that, and I couldn't be more thrilled and more excited. The Felicity Jane kits are my favorite, and I really, really enjoy getting them each month. So I was beyond excited to be chosen to be on that team, and I can't wait to see what that brings. So If you haven't checked out those kits, go to the Felicity Jane website. I will put a link to that down below. I've never ever been disappointed in one of her kits, and that's why I keep getting them. So they are just fantastic. So I look forward to being on that creative team, and so look forward to seeing more Felicity Jane layouts from me in the future. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.